Good afternoon. I am Jennifer, and I am a happy prisoner of Jesus Christ. So I was out to breakfast one day. Why? Because the Lord told me to go have breakfast. He told me where to go have breakfast at, and He told me what to order, and He did it with me. We looked through the menu. He said, I want you to get something that you normally don't eat. And it was chicken, super fried, y'all, chicken and waffles. There was no green on the plate, no fruit on the plate. There was no health stuff on the plate. It was just brown on top of brown on top of brown. But wasn't good. I was killing it. But while I was at this breakfast, the Lord was just talking to me. And I was like wondering about this losing my life and just how far I am into it with the Lord. And I was like, why was I so resistant? Like, what was going on a while back? I just wanted to reflect on it and have the Lord just talk to me about what exactly was going on, because I'm at the point right now where I feel such a peace and such a calm and such a rest that assures me that yes, you really have surrendered and lost your life to Him, because the resistance is just gone. But I remember at a point in time where I was just like at war. I was frustrated, y'all. Matter of fact, I'm just going to tell it like how it is. I was pissed. I was just like, why me? I don't understand. Like, I don't want this. I even remember saying I'd rather die. Like, I was just in a situation because I didn't understand what was going on. And I just wanted the Lord to be able to explain like what was happening to me at the time. Because now that I look at it, it was years that the Lord was taking me through this process. But it wasn't until within the last 6 months that we started getting deep, and I was able to go into this really deep surrender with Him and really lose my life, as the Bible says, in such a way that now the life belongs to the Lord and it's His to direct and guide without my will in the way. If my will is present, it is to do His will. So what He explained to me was 3 things were happening. 1, I didn't have a model, a context to understand what was going on. 2, the life I was living was all I knew. It was all I had. So Him asking me to release things to pull me out of that way was almost like a threat, like a theft, like He was taking from me, which made Him more of an enemy, which put me at odds with Him instead of in alignment with Him, instead of being on one accord with Him. And then the third thing that He mentioned, which really kind of just sums it all up, is that I didn't trust Him. So there were layers to it that the Lord had to work through. He had to take me through a process that included that. It wasn't limited to that. What the Lord took me through for a period of months and even years in which He was just laying into me. But I distinctly remember coming out of a consolidated time frame where the Lord was just aggressive with teaching, training, healing, showing, separating, distancing, isolating me, like really working on me, attuning my ear to His voice in different ways. He was just really getting in there with me. And I want to go into these three things because these three things may help you to understand why you're not completely surrendered, why you haven't lost your life to him, why others haven't, why it's not so common for other people to, but then will also help you to be able to move in that direction towards the Lord and open your heart to the Lord, and then help others do the same. So the first thing was I had no model for it. I had no context for it. I grew up with my dad, my older brother, my older sister, my mom and dad. They were married till I was about 5. I don't remember a whole lot of that. So all I really remember was growing up with my dad, right? And my older sister, my older brother. My dad didn't go to church. My dad wasn't a Christian that I knew of. He wasn't practicing following Christ that I saw. I actually look back on it now and just saw he had a lot of demons. He had a lot of issues that he was facing, that he was struggling and working through, and felt, sympathy for him because he was just going through a lot. I had no clue of, but we didn't speak of Christ. We didn't speak of God. We didn't pray together. We didn't read the Bible. We didn't go to church. We didn't talk even about being a good person. There was none of that. Actually, my dad was loving. He was caring when he was around me. But he spent most of his time tucked away in his room. And I understand why. He had 3 small kids. He needed peace. He needed to maintain his sanity. But there wasn't a whole lot of teaching or raising. It was just pretty old school, pretty go do what you do, I got stuff to do kind of thing. But we definitely didn't focus on Christ. So I didn't grow up seeing a Christian, a practicing Christian at all. Nevertheless, coming in to this understanding of losing your life to Christ, that was foreign. I didn't have anybody around me that was actually fully surrendered to Christ like that and talking about losing their life and what that looked like. I didn't understand the stripping, the humbling, the breaking down of worldly ways, coming out of the worldly system to build yourself up in a kingdom way, in God's way, right? We look at the people who Moses freed from Egyptian slavery, right? We see him walking the people through the wilderness, right? And we have these beautiful people, but they've come out of Egyptian slavery. They were enslaved for 400 years. They've adopted their ways, their customs. It's all that they knew. But now God has sent a deliverer for him. God has rescued the Israelites. Now that he's rescued them, though, they have to learn a new way of living, right? They've got to come out of their old way and step into a new way. So the Lord has to provide them with the 10 commandments to teach them, this is the way how to be my holy people. I've set you apart from my youth. This is the way how I want you to live. I have set you apart. Then we go in and you have the over 600 commandments, right? And it's laying down, think about it, it's laying down the foundation. This is the fabric. This is the constitution that the Lord wants them to live by, because now it's a more kingdom. It's a godly way. It's how he wants them to live. It's how he wants them to be able to move in this world. They are different. They are set apart. So it's the same thing that the Lord does with us. He wants to pull us out of this worldly system. He wants to pull us out by what is ruled by Satan. Bible calls Satan the ruler of this world, the small g, God of this age. He's pulling you out of that. He has to break all that down in you, and now he has to build you up the kingdom way. But I never saw that. Nobody was doing that around me. I didn't have friends. I didn't have aunts. I didn't have uncles. I didn't have a grandma that was doing that, a grandpa that was doing that. I had nobody around me, so I never saw it. So I didn't have a model for it. But when God called me, when the Lord called me unto himself and I got saved, I couldn't understand what was going on. Like, I knew there was some things that I wanted to stop doing. Like, I wanted to stop doing the weaves, the makeup, the dressing a certain way, the baddie look. But I felt like I've been feeling that way for a while, and I felt like it was more of me being natural and stepping into who I naturally, organically was, and putting away the facade of having to be worldly, because now I can be my true self, right? What I didn't understand and struggled with, y'all, is the fact that the Lord was asking me to give up so much. I said, why is God asking me to pack all of my stuff and give it away? Like, I couldn't understand why I couldn't have stuff. And nobody could explain it to me. The people around me, even the Christians, y'all, the Christians I had around me, they couldn't explain why God wouldn't allow me to have stuff. I mean, multiple occasions, I would get all my stuff together and throw it away. And the Lord would tell me to do it, number one. And as I was doing it, he was guiding me. That needs to go, that needs to go, that needs to go. And a lot of it was idols, right? My health and fitness stuff, my high heels, my makeup, all my worldly clothing, all this extra electronics, all this extra stuff I had to get rid of. Now, for anybody else, this was normal stuff. This was just stuff that you acquire over time, right? But he was like, no, it's not for you. Get away with it. So throw it away. And I was like, why can't I have stuff? So I also couldn't do things that other people could do. I would try to wear fake nails, and them fake nails would burn. They was cute though. They was cute. But I felt so uncomfortable with the nails to the point where I knew I shouldn't be wearing them. I felt so uncomfortable with weaves and makeup and with all that when I would try to do it, the Lord would show me that's not for you. And I was like, why? All the Christians around me I saw. I'm looking on TV, I see anointed Christian women. They got weaves, they got makeup, they got nails. I'm like, why can't I? What is going on? What is it about me? Why can't I? And I just knew it, y'all. I knew something was going on about me, because I'm like, why can't nobody explain it to me? Why can't I? Why is nobody like, yeah, that's what God does? The Lord had me going through a period of fasting, and I had a mentor one time. He told me, he was like, God doesn't want you to suffer like that. God doesn't want you to struggle like that. His heart was in the right place, but God sent Jesus to the cross. This is a call to suffer. So, I don't know. Why? Because the Lord says, take up your cross and follow me. He tells people that want to follow him. He says, you sure you want to follow me? I don't even have anywhere to lay my head. Right? But I couldn't understand it. There was no context for it. There was no model for it. I didn't see it. So because I lacked understanding and nobody could explain it to me, I was just knowing something was going on, but I just didn't have a language for it. I didn't see it. So because I didn't have a model for it, I had issues. I was resistant. I was rebellious. Whenever I gave up on God, I gave up on the way. So I would be rocking my hair. I would be doing this, doing that. I'd be drinking. I'd be doing whatever. But the Lord was like not giving up on me. He's like, I'm going to keep coming after you. I'm going to keep coming after the one. Every single time you walk away, Jennifer, I'm coming back for you again. So I would just be stuck in these cycles because I didn't know what was going on. I just felt like it was so unfair, right? And I was married. I had my kids with me. I'm like, why doesn't he have to? I'm looking at my husband at the time. Why don't he have to go through this? Why he get to be free and happy? And I am stuck because I didn't understand. Okay, so the second part of it is that it was all I knew was this worldly system. All I knew was this worldly way of doing it, right? Is that you make up a plan for your life. You decide what you want to do and you go after it. It was all about you as an individual, right? Like, you need to dig deep. You need to go harder. You need to go after what it is that you want. So that was a part of it. Another part of it was that this is what everybody was doing. This was the dress. This was the style. This was the way. You know, women wore makeup. Women wore their hair in fancy hairstyles. Women, they wore their nails. I mean, this is just the way how I saw women presenting themselves in the world. It's all I knew. The way people talked, the way how people moved. How do you decide what you're going to do for the day? You decide what you're going to do. You set your alarm clock to whatever time you think is best, right? You decide what you're going to do in the morning. You decide your day. You figure it out. I just didn't know. And everybody else was doing it. So I didn't have another way. So because this was all I had, this was all my stuff. And it wasn't like I had crack cocaine. I didn't have like rubber bands to tie off with. Y'all, I didn't have tube tops, halter tops, and mini skirts and stuff like that. I didn't have, this tremendous, outlandish wardrobe. I didn't have like name brand like Prada and all that stuff. I didn't care about name brands and stuff like that. So it wasn't an excess. It wasn't in excess. It wasn't like it was so big. So it, to me, was very normal. It was all I knew. So when the Lord was asking me to release that stuff, when he was pulling me out of that stuff, I didn't understand why. I was like, why can't I have? So then I started looking at it as the Lord maybe had something to do with me. Like I felt like it was a threat to me because he was coming after all I had and all I knew at the time. Because I didn't know another way. I didn't have an alternate way. It really is a matter of that image that you see all the time of Jesus asking the girl for the small teddy bear, but he really has a larger teddy bear behind his back. So if she would just trust him enough to give him the small teddy bear, he would give her the large teddy bear. I did not understand it. I was like, this is my only teddy bear. This is all I know. What do you do without teddy bears? Like, no. I didn't realize that was my release, that was my exit out of the world, that I had to leave that to walk into the kingdom, and he'd show me a better way how to live, a better way how to move, a better way to how to carry myself, to conduct myself, a way to walk into purpose, to destiny, to walk into who I was. Like, I just didn't know. I didn't know. Because he was coming after all I knew. So then I'm really like getting indignant, right? I'm like, this is my stuff. No. 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 So the third part of it is that I didn't trust him. I didn't trust him. If he took away my plans, my desires, my want, my will, what would I get in return? I was so focused on what I was losing, I didn't trust him to give me something better. Y'all, do that sound familiar? I didn't trust that if he told me to leave this job and I left the job, that it was for purpose, that it was for a reason, that was for my ultimate good, and not just for my ultimate good, but for the ultimate good of all around me, right? For those that I wasn't even aware of, that he had this big, expansive plan that was amazing, that was all-inclusive, all-encompassing, that considered everything and all things. And that was the greatest good for all involved. I didn't trust that if he took away, and I don't want to say take away, because it's not like it's something good, right? If he told me to release a certain style of dress, a certain hairstyle, if he released me out of a worldly image for a woman, that it was actually for my ultimate good, right? What does that release me from? Vanity, ego, pride, arrogance, the need to be accepted, people pleasing, having to fit in, having to be controlled by the world, looking to the world for how I need to present myself instead of looking to the Lord for that and seeing what's organic, what's natural for me, right? What he was really trying to do was free me. But I just kept looking at all this stuff. Like, okay, so what if he told me to leave my husband? I didn't trust that it would be because my husband's probably already left me, right? In every other way, but physically. Or somehow in that he has a better plan. I just didn't trust him. So now I look at it and I see why he's calling you. I see why he's calling you. Not only did he call me to be a model so others can actually see that, yeah, this is a thing. So that they can have language, understanding of what it is that they're going through. But so they can also get to a point where they realize you may think that this is all you have and you're giving up all you have, but give up all you have right now, to embrace and receive what it is that God has for you. Can you imagine? Give up your plans, your dress, your character, your way of being, right? Not your personality, not who you are. I'm still kind of like, because that's my personality, and I believe the Lord wants to use it to reach people who resonate with a little bit of, you know? But the stuff that you need to be released from that hinders you from being able to embrace his plan, his desire, his will for your life. So not only that, but just to be able to trust him. He can do way better than you. He know more than you. He see more than you. He got a plan that incorporates yesterday, today, and tomorrow. What's for you and everybody else around you. He got the whole universe locked down. What you got locked down? What you know? Trust him. And then understand that he's going to use you so that other people around you can see it and can have understanding, language, context for what it's like to do this thing. And then now they can make a decision based on information they have from you, based off of experience they have from watching you do it. Now they have a different type of option. It's not just a stirring they're feeling in their spirit. They're actually like, oh, this is a thing. And they can make the decision for themselves, or they can see how to do it. So he's not just doing it for me. He's doing it so that I can be a model for my family, so they can see, they can have language and context. He's doing it so that you could have language and context as you watch this video and understanding, right? And he's doing it so that you in your life can also do the same thing for the others around you. Oh, surrender. Oh, surrender. Surrender. He's got you, and it gets good. All right. Take care. Bye.